There's always going to be someone trying to stir things up, someone who's quick to criticize, eager to gossip, always looking for a way to bring you down. You may work with them, live next to them, or even be related to them. The temptation is to get frustrated, argue, and prove them wrong. But here's the key. Troublemakers thrive on reaction. They want to see you upset. They want to pull you out of character. They want to steal your joy. You can't stop people from being difficult, but you can stop them from affecting your peace. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. When people try to provoke you, stay calm. When they spread rumors, let God be your defender. When they criticize you, don't let their words take root in your heart. The scripture says, no weapon formed against you will prosper. It doesn't say the weapons won't form. It says they won't succeed. Trouble will come, but it doesn't have the power to stop your destiny. The enemy would love nothing more than to distract you with petty conflicts, but you have to rise above it. Ignore the insults. Walk away from the drama. Stay focused on what God has called you to do. Some people are committed to misunderstanding you. No matter what you say or do, they will twist it, exaggerate it, and use it against you. Don't waste your energy trying to change their minds. Keep doing the right thing, keep moving forward, and let God handle the troublemakers. When you refuse to engage in their games, you take away their power. When you stay in peace, you show them that their words don't control you. When you keep honoring God, He will fight your battles, and you will come out stronger, wiser, and victorious. Life is full of challenges, and sometimes those challenges come in the form of people. You may find yourself dealing with individuals who seem determined to push your buttons, stir up drama, or create unnecessary conflict. They say things that are meant to offend you, do things that are designed to get a reaction, and look for ways to disrupt your peace. It can be frustrating, even infuriating, to deal with people like that. But one of the greatest strengths you can develop is learning how to respond without letting their actions get the best of you. One of the biggest mistakes we make is thinking that we have to respond to every insult, every accusation, or every bit of negativity that comes our way. The truth is, not everything deserves your attention. Not every battle is worth fighting. Some things are simply distractions designed to pull you off course. If you let every troublemaker upset you, you'll spend all your time and energy putting out fires instead of moving forward in the direction you were meant to go. Think about a time when someone tried to provoke you. Maybe they made a sarcastic remark, spread a false rumor, or tried to embarrass you in front of others. Your natural instinct may have been to defend yourself, to fight back, or to prove them wrong. But the more you engage, the more power you give them. When you get upset, when you raise your voice, when you react emotionally, you are giving them exactly what they want. That's why it's so important to remain steady, to keep your emotions under control, and to not allow their negativity to dictate your response. There's a story about a wise man who was constantly insulted by a troublemaker in his village. This man would come up to him every day, hurling rude comments, trying to get under his skin, but no matter what was said, the wise man never reacted. One day, a bystander asked him, "Why do you ever respond? Why do you just let him talk to you like that?" The wise man smiled and said, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse to take it, who does it still belong to?" The bystander answered, "Well, it still belongs to the person who tried to give it." The wise man nodded and said, "That's why I don't accept his words. They don't belong to me unless I choose to take them." That's a powerful lesson. People will offer you offense, anger, and frustration, but you don't have to accept it. You don't have to take on their negativity. You don't have to let their words become a burden in your heart. When you learn to let things go, when you decide that someone else's bitterness is not your problem, you free yourself from the control they're trying to have over you. One of the biggest signs of strength is knowing when to walk away. Some people aren't looking for resolution. They are looking for reaction. They don't want peace. They want to fight. The best thing you can do is refuse to play their game. When you don't respond the way they expect, when you don't get upset, when you don't let it shake you, you take away their power. Suddenly, they don't have control over your mood. They don't have the ability to ruin your day. It's not always easy. In the moment, everything in you may want to respond, to prove your point, to let them know they can't treat you that way. But if you do, you're only feeding into the cycle. The greatest victories often come through restraint. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Imagine you're on a long journey, and along the way, dogs start barking at you. If you stop to yell at every barking dog, you'll never reach your destination. The same is true in life. If you allow every troublemaker to slow you down, if you stop to argue with every critic, if you let every little offense get under your skin, you'll never accomplish what you were meant to do. You have to decide that your peace is too valuable to give away. Your joy is too important to be stolen by someone else's bad attitude. Your future is too bright to be distracted by negativity. No matter what people say or do, you have the power to choose your response. You can choose to stay steady, to remain focused, and to keep your heart in the right place. Some people may mistake your silence for weakness. They may think that if you don't react, it means they've won. But true strength is not about proving yourself to others. It's about knowing who you are and refusing to let anyone else dictate your worth. When you stay calm, you are showing maturity. When you don't engage in the drama, you are showing wisdom. And when you rise above the trouble, you are showing that you are in control of your own destiny. In the end, troublemakers don't last. Their negativity will eventually come back on them. But if you stay steady, if you stay focused, and if you refuse to let them pull you down, you will continue to rise higher. You'll walk in peace. You'll move forward with confidence. And you'll see doors open that no troublemaker can close. Life is filled with all kinds of people. Some are uplifting, encouraging, and supportive, while others seem to bring unnecessary challenges, negativity, and distractions. When dealing with those who create conflict, it's important to recognize that you have the ability to control how much influence they have over your life. Just because someone wants to bring chaos into your world doesn't mean you have to let them in. It's not your job to fix everyone, to entertain every opinion, or to allow disruptive behavior to take root in your space. Imagine a house with a front door. That door serves an important purpose. It determines who comes in and who stays out. If a stranger knocks, you don't just swing the door open and invite them to make themselves at home. You look through the peephole, ask questions, and determine whether or not it's someone you trust. The same principle applies to your personal life. You can't let just anyone have access to your mind, your emotions, or your inner circle. Too often, people feel obligated to engage with those who drain them simply because they don't want to appear rude or unkind. But being selective about who you allow into your space is not about being mean. It's about being wise. There are individuals who, no matter how much you try to reason with them, will always find something to complain about, criticize, or manipulate. They don't have your best interests at heart. They aren't there to build you up. They are there to see what they can take. Recognizing this and making decisions accordingly is a sign of strength. There's a difference between being friendly and allowing yourself to be taken advantage of. Being kind doesn't mean tolerating behavior that disrespects your peace. You can be polite, considerate, and even compassionate while still maintaining control over who you allow into your life. People will often push boundaries, seeing how far they can go, how much they can get away with, and how much they can impose on you. It is up to you to determine what is acceptable and what is not. Think of a garden. If you plant beautiful flowers but don't take care of them, weeds will start to grow. The weeds don't need permission to invade. They will simply take over if you don't remove them. In the same way, negative influences will spread in your life if you don't take steps to protect your environment. You can't allow every comment, every opinion, or every criticism to take root in your heart. If someone is constantly bringing you down, sowing doubt, or creating unnecessary tension, it may be time to make a change. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with this is because they feel guilty about saying no. They worry about what others will think, how they will react, or if they will be upset. But the reality is not everyone will understand your decisions, and that's okay. It's not your responsibility to make everyone happy. especially at the cost of your own well-being. If someone is offended because you chose to protect your peace, that's their issue, not yours. It's also important to understand that you are not obligated to explain every decision you make. You don't have to justify why you no longer engage in certain conversations, why you no longer respond to negativity, or why you are no longer available for toxic relationships. Some people will never accept your reasoning, no matter how well you explain it, because they are committed to misunderstanding you. Instead of trying to convince them, simply move forward with confidence. At times, setting limits means walking away from certain relationships. This can be difficult, especially if it's someone you've known for a long time or someone you feel a sense of loyalty toward. But loyalty should never come at the expense of your peace. There are people who are part of your past who may not be meant to be part of your future. If their presence in your life is more draining than uplifting, it may be a sign that it's time to move on. Walking away doesn't mean you wish them harm, that you're angry, or that you hold bitterness. It simply means you've chosen to prioritize your own well-being. You can still wish them the best from a distance. You can still be kind without keeping them close. There's a misconception that letting go is an act of cruelty, when in reality, it's often an act of self-care. The more you protect your space, the more peace you will have. You will find that your energy increases, your stress decreases, and your focus improves when you are no longer weighed down by unnecessary conflicts. When you remove distractions, you make room for growth, for joy, and for the right people to enter your life. It's not about shutting people out entirely. It's about being intentional about who you allow close. Some people are meant to be acquaintances, not confidants. Some relationships are seasonal, not lifelong. Some individuals may be better loved from a distance rather than up close. Recognizing this allows you to be at peace with your decisions. At the end of the day, your life is too valuable to be dictated by troublemakers. You have too much potential, too much purpose, and too much ahead of you to waste time dealing with those who only bring negativity. When you make intentional choices about who you allow into your space, you protect not only your peace, but also your future. Responding to negativity with grace is one of the most powerful ways to rise above troublemakers. It's easy to repay criticism with more criticism, to match insult for insult, or to give people exactly what they've given you. But there's something extraordinary about taking the higher road, choosing to respond in a way that shows maturity, strength, and character. It's not always the natural response, but it's the response that holds the greatest reward. When someone is trying to provoke you, the easiest thing to do is lash out. The flesh wants to defend itself, to retaliate, or to set the record straight. But when you allow yourself to be pulled into that kind of back and forth, you're not just lowering yourself to their level, you're giving them control over your emotions. They may have started the trouble, but the moment you engage, you've handed them the power to dictate how you feel and how you act. That's why it takes incredible discipline to rise above and respond with kindness instead of anger. Showing grace doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong enough to not let someone else's bitterness get inside of you. It means you recognize that your peace is more valuable than proving a point. People who create trouble often thrive on the reactions they get from others. They're not just looking to cause problems. They're looking to control how you feel. When you refuse to respond with the same negativity, you're breaking that cycle. You're sending a clear message. You don't have the power to disrupt my peace. Think of it this way. If someone hands you a gift, but you choose not to accept it, the gift still belongs to them. The same principle applies to offense and negativity. Just because someone offers you disrespect doesn't mean you have to take it into your heart. When you choose not to accept it, when you choose to let it go, it stays with them. It doesn't become a part of you. It takes humility to respond to troublemakers with grace. Humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of the bigger picture. It's understanding that your peace, your purpose, and your destiny are far more important than winning a temporary argument. When you stay calm and kind in the face of conflict, you're not just protecting your peace, you're protecting your future. You're making a decision that will allow you to keep moving forward without unnecessary baggage. There's a story about two neighbors. One was always rude, always looking for ways to stir up trouble. The other neighbor was kind, patient, and never retaliated. Every morning, the troublemaking neighbor would throw garbage over the fence into the kind neighbor's yard. Instead of getting angry or throwing garbage back, the kind neighbor would clean it up without saying a word. One day, the troublemaker's heart softened and he asked, "Why don't you ever fight back? Why do you keep being kind to me?" The kind neighbor smiled and said, "Because I'm not going to let your garbage make my yard dirty." That's what happens when you choose to respond with kindness. You're refusing to let someone else's mess become your mess. You're refusing to let their bitterness contaminate your spirit. The truth is, people who constantly stir up trouble are often carrying wounds of their own. Hurt people hurt people. Their negativity isn't always about you, it's about what's happening inside of them. When you show kindness instead of anger, you're not just protecting your own peace, you might even plant a seed that helps heal their heart. Choosing kindness doesn't mean you have to tolerate mistreatment or let people walk all over you. It doesn't mean you have to keep letting them in your life. You can be kind and still create distance. You can forgive without giving someone full access to your heart. Responding with grace is not about allowing people to disrespect you. It's about refusing to let their disrespect change who you are. There will always be people who misunderstand your kindness. They'll think that because you didn't lash out, you don't know what's really happening. But when you choose to take the high road, you're not proving yourself to them, you're proving yourself to God. You're showing that you trust Him to fight your battles, to be your defender, and to handle the troublemakers in His own time and way. It takes faith to stay kind when you could easily retaliate. It takes strength to walk away when your pride is telling you to engage. But every time you choose grace, you're sowing seeds for your own future. The scripture says, "A gentle answer turns away wrath." Your gentle response may not change them, but it will protect you. It will keep your heart clean and your mind free from unnecessary clutter. Sometimes the best thing you can do is simply smile and move on. No explanation, no argument, no need to prove yourself. When you resist the urge to fight every battle, you're showing that you trust God to fight on your behalf. You're showing that you're more focused on where you're going than what's happening around you. In the end, kindness is not just a response, it's a strategy. It's a way of rising above the noise, keeping your heart pure and staying in position for the blessings that are coming your way. Trouble may come, but when you respond with grace, trouble will never have the power to stop your destiny. You'll walk through life lighter, freer, and full of the peace that no troublemaker can take away. One of the most important things you can do when dealing with difficult people is to keep your focus on what truly matters. It's easy to get sidetracked by negativity, distractions, and unnecessary conflict, but the more you allow troublemakers to steal your attention, the further you drift from the things that actually deserve your energy. You have to make a conscious decision not to be pulled into drama, arguments, or situations that don't add value to your life. Imagine driving a car on a long journey. Along the way, you see billboards, side roads, and all kinds of things that could make you stop. If you pull over every time something catches your eye, you'll never reach your destination. The same is true in life. If you stop to respond to every negative comment, every bit of gossip, or every attempt to provoke you, you'll find yourself stuck in a place you were never meant to be. Not every distraction is worth your time, and not every battle is worth fighting. Some people thrive on creating distractions. They look for ways to stir up conflict, to provoke a reaction, or to get you to focus on them instead of your goals. They know that if they can keep you engaged in pointless arguments or make you upset, they can slow you down. But when you recognize what's happening, you can make a different choice. You can decide that you're not going to let troublemakers dictate your direction. It takes discipline to stay focused when someone is trying to get under your skin. They may say things that are meant to offend you. They may spread rumors, make sarcastic remarks, or try to embarrass you in front of others. The temptation is to defend yourself, to prove them wrong, or to set the record straight. But often, engaging only gives them what they want, your attention. The best response is often no response at all. One of the biggest challenges in life is learning to ignore distractions that don't serve your purpose. Some things are simply not worth your time. If you waste energy worrying about what other people are saying or doing, you'll have nothing left to pour into the things that truly matter. Your energy is valuable. Your time is precious. You can't afford to let troublemakers take up space in your mind and heart. Think about a great athlete running a race. They don't stop every few steps to argue with the crowd. They don't look to the left or right, worried about who is cheering or who is booing. They stay focused on the finish line. That's the mindset you have to develop. People will talk, people will criticize, people will try to pull you into distractions, but you have to keep running your race. You have to stay locked in on your goals, your growth, and your purpose. There's an old saying that goes, you can't control what people do, but you can control how you respond. Just because someone is trying to bring negativity into your life doesn't mean you have to accept it. You have the power to decide what you will and won't allow to take up space in your heart and mind. If someone is trying to bring you down, trying to provoke you, or trying to make you lose focus, the best thing you can do is refuse to engage. One of the best ways to deal with troublemakers is to outgrow them. When you keep rising, when you keep moving forward, when you continue to become better, their distractions will eventually become irrelevant. Trouble thrives in small thinking, in petty arguments, and in unnecessary drama. But when you're focused on growing, on achieving, and on fulfilling your purpose, you won't have time for that. You'll be too busy pursuing greatness to be bothered by foolishness. Not everyone is meant to go where you're going. Some people are only in your life for a season. Some people are meant to challenge you, to teach you a lesson, or to show you what you don't want in your future. If someone is consistently causing problems, if they are always trying to bring you into unnecessary conflicts, you may need to create some distance. That doesn't mean you wish them harm. It doesn't mean you're bitter. It simply means you are choosing to protect your peace. It's also important to remember that you don't have to respond to everything. Silence is often the most powerful response. When you ignore negativity, when you refuse to get involved in unnecessary drama, you are showing strength. You are showing that you value your peace more than proving a point. Sometimes the best way to win a battle is to walk away from it. In life, you will always have people who try to pull you off track. But when you stay focused on what truly matters, when you refuse to get caught up in distractions, and when you keep your eyes on your purpose, you will continue to rise. Trouble may come, but it won't have the power to stop you. You'll be too focused on where you're going to be bothered by what's behind you. Keep moving forward and don't let troublemakers steal your focus. One of the most effective ways to deal with difficult people is to make sure that you are not reacting emotionally to their behavior. It's natural to feel frustrated, angry, or even hurt when someone is being intentionally difficult. But allowing those emotions to control your response only gives them power over you. Instead of reacting impulsively, take a step back and choose to respond with wisdom and composure. Emotional reactions often escalate situations rather than resolve them. Troublemakers thrive on emotional responses. They want to see you upset, flustered, or thrown off balance because it means they've succeeded in getting under your skin. But when you refuse to react emotionally, when you remain calm and collected, you strip them of their ability to control the situation. Think of it like a fire. A fire needs oxygen to keep burning. If you add fuel to it, it only gets bigger. But if you deprive it of air, it will eventually burn out. The same principle applies when dealing with troublemakers. If you engage with them emotionally, you are feeding the fire. If you remain calm and refuse to give them what they want, the fire will die out on its own. Maintaining control over your emotions doesn't mean suppressing how you feel. It means choosing not to let your emotions dictate your action. It means recognizing that your peace and stability are worth more than a momentary outburst. The ability to remain calm in the face of provocation is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength. It shows that you are in control of yourself, not being controlled by external circumstances. One of the best ways to avoid emotional reactions is to take a moment before responding. When someone says something offensive or tries to provoke you, take a deep breath. Pause. Give yourself time to process the situation before saying or doing anything. This small delay can be the difference between responding wisely and saying something you might regret. Imagine someone throwing a rock into a still lake. If the water is calm, the rock will cause ripples, but eventually the water will settle again. But if the water is already stirred up, the rock will only add to the chaos. The same is true with your emotions. If you are already on edge, already carrying stress, or already upset about something else, it's easier for troublemakers to get a reaction out of you. That's why it's so important to keep yourself centered, to manage your stress, and to cultivate a sense of inner peace that doesn't depend on outside circumstances. Developing emotional discipline takes practice. It requires self-awareness, patience, and a commitment to responding in a way that aligns with your values rather than reacting out of frustration. One of the best ways to strengthen this discipline is to remind yourself that not everything deserves a response. Some battles are not worth fighting. Some comments don't need an answer. Some people are looking for a reaction, and the best thing you can do is not give them one. Another important aspect of managing emotional reactions is recognizing the difference between reacting and responding. A reaction is immediate, often impulsive, and driven by emotion. A response, on the other hand, is intentional, thought out, and controlled. When you react, you are letting someone else dictate your behavior. When you respond, you are taking ownership of your actions. Think about an argument you may have witnessed or been a part of in the past. When both people react emotionally, the conversation quickly escalates into shouting, accusations, and sometimes even personal attacks. But when one person remains calm, it changes the dynamic. The argument loses its momentum because it takes two people to keep it going. Choosing not to react emotionally can diffuse tension and keep you in control of the situation. Another strategy for staying calm is to shift your perspective. Instead of taking someone's words or actions personally, try to see the bigger picture. Ask yourself, is this really worth my energy? Will this matter a week from now, a year from now? More often than not, the things that troublemakers do to provoke you are insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Keeping this perspective helps you stay focused on what truly matters rather than getting caught up in unnecessary conflict. It's also helpful to remind yourself that people's actions are often a reflection of their own issues, not yours. Some people stir up trouble because they are unhappy with themselves. Some people provoke others because they feel powerless in their own lives. Their negativity is not about you, it's about what's happening inside of them. Understanding this makes it easier to detach emotionally from their behavior and not take it to heart. If you find yourself struggling to remain calm in difficult situations, one practical tool is to develop a personal mantra, something you can repeat to yourself in moments of stress to help you stay centered. It could be something simple like, I will not let this steal my peace, or I am in control of my emotions. Having a phrase to anchor yourself can be a powerful way to maintain composure. At the end of the day, your emotional stability is in your hands. No one can make you angry without your permission. No one can force you to react in a way that goes against your character. The more you practice staying calm, the more natural it will become. You'll find that troublemakers lose their power over you. Their words won't sting the way they used to. Their actions won't shake you like they once did. You'll walk through life with a sense of peace that no one can take away. When you learn to control your emotional responses, you're no longer at the mercy of difficult people. You rise above their tactics, you keep your focus, and you move forward with confidence. Troublemakers may come and go, but when you refuse to be emotionally controlled by their actions, they lose their ability to affect your life. You become stronger, wiser, and unshakable in the face of adversity. One of the most empowering choices you can make when dealing with difficult people is to refuse to let their negativity consume your thoughts and dictate your emotions. Troublemakers often thrive on attention. They want to take up space in your mind, occupy your emotions, and drain your energy. The more time you spend thinking about what they said, what they did, or how they treated you, the more power you are giving them. But when you refuse to dwell on their negativity, you reclaim control over your own peace and well-being. It's easy to replay negative interactions in your mind, analyzing every detail, wondering why someone acted the way they did, or thinking about what you could have said differently. But dwelling on negativity doesn't change what happened. It doesn't make the troublemaker go away, and it doesn't bring you peace. In fact, the more you focus on the negative, the heavier it becomes. It weighs you down, drains your joy, and keeps you stuck in frustration. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks. Every time you replay an offense, every time you dwell on what someone did to you, you're adding another rock to that backpack. Over time, it gets heavier and heavier until it slows you down completely. But the moment you decide to let go, to stop carrying the weight of negativity, you feel lighter, freer, and more at peace. Letting go doesn't mean you ignore reality. It doesn't mean you pretend the troublemaker's behavior didn't affect you. It means you make a conscious decision not to let their negativity live rent-free in your mind. You choose to shift your focus to better things, to your goals, your peace, your growth. You understand that carrying bitterness only hurts you, not them. One of the best ways to stop dwelling on negativity is to redirect your thoughts. When you catch yourself replaying a negative interaction, make a deliberate effort to shift your focus to something positive. Instead of thinking about what they did, think about what you're grateful for. Instead of replaying the offense, remind yourself of your bigger purpose. The more you train your mind to focus on the good, the less control troublemakers will have over you. Another powerful strategy is to set mental boundaries. Just as you wouldn't let a toxic person walk into your home and make a mess, you don't have to let them invade your mind and disrupt your peace. You can decide, I will not give this person space in my thoughts. I refuse to let their negativity take up my energy. Every time you catch yourself dwelling on what they said or did, stop and remind yourself that you have more important things to focus on. Some troublemakers operate like emotional parasites. They want to provoke a reaction to pull you into their negativity and to keep you emotionally invested in their drama. But when you refuse to engage, when you don't dwell on their behavior, they lose their power over you. They may try harder at first, but eventually they'll realize that they can't control someone who refuses to give them attention. Forgiveness is another key part of letting go. Forgiveness doesn't mean you excuse bad behavior or allow someone to mistreat you. It simply means you release the offense so it no longer controls your emotions. Holding on to resentment doesn't punish the troublemaker, it punishes you. It keeps you emotionally tied to the very person you want to move on from. But when you choose to forgive, you free yourself. You break the emotional connection and take back your peace. Think of your mind like a garden. If you allow negativity to take root, it will grow like weeds, choking out the beauty of your peace and joy. But when you remove those weeds, when you refuse to dwell on negative experiences, you make room for something better. You create space for positive thoughts, for personal growth, and for the things that truly matter. Letting go of negativity is a skill that takes practice. At first, you may still find yourself thinking about what someone did, feeling frustrated or wishing things had gone differently. But the more you train your mind to release the negativity, the easier it becomes. Over time, troublemakers will no longer have the same effect on you. Their words won't bother you. Their actions won't disrupt your peace, and their attempts to get a reaction will fall flat. It's important to remember that you don't have to wait for an apology to move forward. Some people will never admit they were wrong. Some troublemakers will never take responsibility for their behavior, but their lack of remorse doesn't have to keep you stuck. You have the power to decide that their actions will no longer occupy space in your heart and mind. Letting go is not just about moving on from troublemakers. It's about making room for better things. When you stop dwelling on negativity, you open yourself up to new opportunities, to deeper peace, and to a life that is not weighed down by unnecessary burdens. You begin to experience a freedom that no troublemaker can take away. At the end of the day, troublemakers only have as much power as you give them. If you dwell on their negativity, replay their words, and allow their behavior to affect your emotions, they win. But when you take control of your focus, when you decide that your peace is more valuable than their drama, you rise above it. You walk through life lighter, unbothered, and free from the weight of unnecessary negativity. The greatest victory over a troublemaker is not proving them wrong, not getting even, and not changing their ways. The greatest victory is choosing to live your life unaffected by their negativity. It's waking up each day with joy, with purpose, and with a heart that is not burdened by bitterness. When you refuse to dwell on troublemakers, you take back your power. You create a life that is too full of good things to be weighed down by negativity. And in the end, that is the ultimate success. Throughout life, you will inevitably encounter troublemakers, people who try to stir up conflict, bring negativity, and pull you away from your purpose. But the key to handling them isn't in fighting back, proving yourself, or getting caught up in their games. The key is in rising above, maintaining your focus, and refusing to let their actions control your emotions or dictate your path. You have the power to choose how you respond. You don't have to let their words affect your confidence, their behavior steal your peace, or their negativity shape your outlook. When you stay focused on what truly matters, when you remain calm instead of reacting emotionally, and when you refuse to dwell on negativity, you take control of your own life. You make it clear that no troublemaker has the power to bring you down or keep you from what you are meant to achieve. Instead of engaging in unnecessary battles, choose to protect your energy. Instead of letting frustration take over, choose to walk away with wisdom. Instead of carrying the weight of their negativity, choose to release it and move forward. Troublemakers may come and go, but they don't have to leave a lasting impact on your heart or mind. The greatest victory is not in proving them wrong. It's in refusing to let them rob you of your joy, your peace, and your purpose. Stay strong, stay focused, and keep moving forward. When you rise above troublemakers, you don't just avoid conflict, you create a life that is too full of purpose, too focused on growth, and too grounded in peace to be shaken by negative.